Hey guys, Dylan Parsons, number 99 Pro Spec on Kenda tires in the Champ OffRoad Series. Getting into racing, I got into racing all my life. My parents raced when I was a kid, back in the Soda Series, Class 11 buggies, and then they moved up into a Class 6 truck. So that's why I was a little nervous getting into Pro Spec, because that never took off, and that ended like my dad's career in racing back in the 90s. But so growing up, we'd always begged my parents to go to Crandon. Like that was where we needed to go. And then anytime the races came to Oshkosh or anywhere like that, I had to be there. Like that was where I had to be. And so watching all these guys growing up racing, they're all my idols in racing off-road. Like my room when I was a kid had all off-road posters in it, like the Rough Riders. Like that was I grew up, that was my childhood. And like growing up through all that, and like my parents kind of didn't want to go to the races anymore because they got out of racing, and like I had to beg them to go. And my dad always said, once you're done with college, we can look at racing off-road again. And I graduated college and one bought a buggy right away, and we went racing, and here we are now. But before that, like growing up, we always snowmobiled, and then I started racing cross-country snowmobiles a little bit when I was 18, and we went and raced like the national series on that a little bit. I won a couple races in sport class, moved up to semi-pro, and the traveling in the winter and all that when it just added up, and I'm like, this isn't exactly what I want to do. And then I kind of started helping out some guys in snowcross, and like I had more fun wrenching on the snowcross sleds and making like guys on the national series, just helping everyone out. So after this, like in the snowcross stuff, then I started racing off-road, and those guys started coming to the races, and it's snowballed into what we have now. Like I've helped Cowan get like 2 championships. I have 1 championship in the buggies, a world championship. It's been so much fun. Back to starting out with the buggies, Dad had a lot of connections still from back when he raced. And that has got to me where I am today. Like that is pretty much how we gotten here, involved with Kenda and all the other great partners that we have is all through Matt and the Vanderbilt and every other one of my connections with going back to my parents racing back in the 80s and 90s. Champ OffRoad Series is pretty much the top short course series in the US. There's been a few series over the years, but Champ in Crandon and Bark River and all those mecca tracks have been always there. Crandon is the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of off-road racing. Like as a kid, that's where I wanted to be, was Crandon. Like Crandon is world renowned of what it is, and it almost is too big for its own good at sometimes. Like it becomes such a show where it takes away from the racing a little bit, but everyone wants to go to Fall Crandon. Everyone wants to be on the podium at Fall Crandon. Everyone wants to win at Fall Crandon. Crandon for me, it's bigger than the Daytona 500. Crandon, like you look forward to Crandon all year. Sometimes it doesn't go as well as you want to. I mean, I've won the world championship at Crandon in a buggy. And it was my first win in off-road too. And that was probably one of the highlights of my life. Like that was the biggest thing I could possibly do. And like as a little kid, that is what I wanted to do my whole life. And to be able to fulfill that dream, and that was the best. Racing the truck has been a complete learning curve, but a blast at the same time. Last year, we just kicked our way and wanted to finish every race. And that's what we did. We finished every race, and towards the end of the year, the speed will come, and we were getting on the podium. I didn't want to go out there and just wreck the whole truck the first race. And then you've seen a lot of guys do that. They get into something, they wreck it, they're gone. So I wanted to stay just consistent and get there, and the speed will come. Well, it's working so far. So the truck itself, like you're constantly searching for traction, and that's where having the best tire brand behind you is key, and the best groove and the best guys helping with the groove, and that's key to winning in the spec class, because that, like, everyone's got different tires. So if your tire is the best tire, you're gonna come out on top. So mainly on the tire grooving is on the front tires, we have to groove turning and braking points. So we add a little more for our application for turning, and most of that's off-road in the way our tracks are. It's loose and muddy at the beginning of the race. So with these two-wheel drive trucks, you have to be able to turn and not push. Where on the road, you're not gonna have that attribute, I guess I would say. And then as far as the rear, we just get we add a little bit more side bite and forward traction, just to work for, again, the beginning of the race. And then not so much the blue groove at the end of the race. The grooving doesn't make a huge difference on that, but it also lets the tire clean out when it does get pack fit. Blue groove is essentially black ice on dirt. Just like the late model cars that race every Saturday night, when that track gets slicked over, the blue groove becomes so slippery that you just instantly spin out. So the best thing is to have more surface area on the tire, and touching the track, and it's the compound of the tire. As it gets hot, it grips better on the blue groove. Where I feel that blue groove on the racetrack probably correlates back to how a tire does on the ice, where like the AT2 would do very well on the ice, because we tested on blue groove. It's going to correlate back over to ice and snow and things like that. Kenda designs these tires they helped design these tires through the off-road segment of racing, and then that went over to the street side, or off-road side, consumer side, and that's where the podium pavement comes from. These tires win on Sunday, they sell on Monday, is the old school slogan. And all the guys at Kenda have worked at building these tires for off-road, but then they also go and test them on the Jeeps, on the road, on all applications across the country to work the best. Off-road racing is just one of those things that they do to test their tires. We run the MTs on the front of the truck to get steering. With this truck, we probably don't run, it'd be very slim if we ran an MT on the rear, just because we're limited on the power, and the MT just has so much traction that we wouldn't be able to run that. We run the AT and the RT on the rear, and then the RT on the front also, with just a slight different grooving, and just to get better braking and better turning on the front, and then a little bit more forward and side bite on the rear. Really, like, the RT is like my mud terrain tire for this truck because of the horsepower rating, where the AT is going to be my all-around tire. Works best when the track gets blown off and in the blue groove, and that tire just, as the blue groove comes, and it starts hooking more, and it actually helps you turn better, and it lets the truck come around a little bit, and then gets the traction off the corner to get you out of the corner faster. So Kenda definitely values on being a value or inexpensive tire. They know how to make a tier 1 product at a value price. So if you want to run Kenda tires like I do, go to your local Kenda tire dealer. If you don't know where your local Kenda tire dealer is, go to kendatire.com and type in your zip code on the dealer locator, and then your local dealer will pop up.